Hello everyone, welcome back to this channel. In today's video, I will discuss about the X-linked recessive disorders or inheritance and how these traits are passed by female carriers to their offsprings. X-linked recessive inheritance. When we deal with X-linked recessive traits, X-linked recessive traits or characters or appearance, whatever we call it. When we deal with this X-linked recessive traits, that means the genes associated with that trait is present on the X chromosome. And the example of this X-linked recessive inheritance, like hemophilia, color blindness, in males, the X chromosome is paired with Y chromosome. This is Y, this is X, whereas in females, both are X chromosome. This is X, this is X. Let's say this X chromosome has pair of alleles, so we denoted it as AX for dominant allele, and X small a for recessive allele. So in order for females to be affected, she must have homozygous X recessive allele. Let's suppose this is a affected female. Her genetic makeup will be X small a, X small a. This is female, affected female. She will have homozygous recessive allele, and any homozygous dominant or heterozygous female will be unaffected. Unaffected female will have either this or this. This female, they will be unaffected, but here this female, which is heterozygous female, will become a carrier of this genetic traits. Whereas for males, affected males who have this recessive allele will be affected, as this allele will express itself since male have only one X chromosome. This will be affected, whereas the male who have the dominant allele will be unaffected. This male will be affected, this male will be unaffected. So now let's come with example. Suppose this example number 1. Here is a pedigree. This is male. This is his wife, and she is affected female. So they married, and then here they are their offsprings. Two female, two male. These are their offsprings, and both their sons, they are affected, whereas their daughters are healthy or unaffected. So here this is XY, this is XX. Let's say the male, since he is unaffected, let's say he is having XA and Y. I'll drop this. Since male is unaffected, will denote XA, And why? His wife, this one is affected. It is X small a. So when they married, this one, how they will pair up? This X will go with this X. So they will get X small a. This one is one female. Maybe this is the one, XA and XA. And then again, this chromosome might go with this one, XA and XA. So this is the one. And this Y will go with this X small a and Y. So this is the one. Since this XY is a male and he's having only one chromosome, recessive chromosome, which have the recessive allele, the X chromosome which have recessive allele, so that allele will express itself. So this son become affected, and again this Y will go with the another X. This also will be affected. So in this first example, we say that if a man marries a affected woman, all the sons will become affected, whereas the daughters will become carrier. Now example number 2. In this example, both the husband and wife are affected. Both the husband and wife are affected. This is X, Y, X, A. So they married and then they produce offspring. And then all their offsprings will be affected. Maybe they produce 2 sons, 2 daughters, and all of them they got infected or they got affected. So how we will, let's say this one, this is the father and this is the mother. How the genetic makeup will be? So this X with this X, so both are homozygous recessive allele, so it will be affected. And then again this X with this X, both are homozygous recessive, this one, so it will be affected. And then this Y with this X, it's this one. Since the son is having the allele, recessive allele of the X chromosome, so he will be affected. And then again this Y with this X, XA and Y. So here in the example number 2, we see that in this example number 2, we see that in case of X-linked recessive inheritance, if both the parents are affected, so all their offsprings will also get affected. Now we'll go with example number 3. Here in example number 3, this is the father, this is his wife. His wife is unaffected, but she is a carrier of that genetic traits. And when they married, they produce maybe four children, 2 female, 2 males, and 1 male gets affected while the other is unaffected. So let's see how their genetics makeup will be. This is the father and this is the mother. Here the mother is not affected because she is having a pair of allele. One is dominant, one is recessive, and this dominant dominates the traits, so she is unaffected, but she is the carrier of this recessive allele. So here we'll see the genetic makeup of their offsprings. So here we get the homozygous dominant daughter. So this is unaffected, and the other one, here we get the unaffected but the carrier, unaffected daughter, but she is a carrier of this recessive allele. Whereas in males we have this XA dominant allele, which is this one XA and Y this XY, this recessive allele. So the one of the son get affected. So here we see that, we see in this example, we see both the parents are unaffected, but the mother is a carrier. So we see here the one of the daughter is unaffected, whereas the other daughter is a carrier, and one of the son affected, whereas the other son is unaffected. So here we'll see another example or another case scenario where the father is affected and the wife is unaffected. Here the father is affected, that means he is having the recessive allele, and the mother is unaffected and she is not a carrier, that means she is having both the dominant allele. So let's see how the offspring's genetic makeup will be. XA. That means this daughter will become a carrier of this recessive allele. This one also, and the sons will have both the dominant allele XA Y, XA and Y, XA and Y. So in this example number 4, we see that if the father is affected, so both his daughter will become carrier. Daughters will be unaffected, but they will become carrier, and his sons will be unaffected. All the sons will become unaffected, all the daughters will become unaffected, but the daughters will become carrier in this scenario, or in this case, example number 4. Now we'll see in this example number 5 or scenario number 5 where the husband is affected, or the father is affected, and the mother is a carrier. Here that means genetic up of the father is X, recessive allele. Here is dominant allele and recessive allele. So how does offsprings will be? So let's see the genetic makeup of their offspring. X with this one, XA, X small a. So this one XA, X small a, she will be unaffected, but she will become the carrier. This A and this A, both are recessive allele, XA and XA. So this one will, the daughter will become affected. Y and X dominant and Y. This one will become healthy or unaffected. X, or this one X recessive allele, and Y, this one will become affected. So here in this scenario number 5 or example number 5, we see that if the affected father marries a carrier mother, 50% of the son will be affected. 50% of the daughters will be affected, and here in daughters 50% will become carrier.